Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Para sa proyekto ko, pinili ko po na interview isa sa mga matalik ko ng kaibigan na si Jesand Amodo. Hindi po nakakaintindi o nakapagsalita sa Jehzan, so this interview will be done in English.
Hi everybody, my name is Jehzan. I've been friends with Tiny for about 8 years. We met in the military and served 6 years together in there, and also we've been very close friends for the last 3 or 4 years. So this book is called New Immigrants by Thomas Benz, and it was published in 1981, and it showcases, I believe, like 8 to 10 different families, peoples of color, specifically from Asia and Mexico and everything, that came from other places to Hawaii for various different reasons, and they connected each family to a particular community here or a town in Hawaii. So my family was from the Philippines to Waipahu, and it goes all the way back, tells the story from the 70s, from when there was lots of different things going on, and basically my father's family was really involved in the church. They helped establish the Filipino United Church of Christ here in Waipahu. That's it's here today. And so here's a picture of them. This is my dad when he's like 7 or 8 years old, yeah. And it shows our names, Amodo, Salas. So this is my father's side, Amodo.
Yeah. What can you tell us about the picture?
Yeah, so I can't really name everyone. I can see familiar faces, but this is my dad when he's a kid, and there's 13 of his siblings in here, including a bunch of his cousins and aunts and uncles. So obviously I believe this was probably taken in like maybe 1980 or something like that.
And that is when your family first got here.
Yes, so the story goes on, but as far as my grandparents, they got petitioned through my grandfather's sister, Filipinas, who we call Grandma Pina. She's, can't see her right now, but she's in here.
Okay.
Yeah, and how she brought the rest of her family through with getting married, and my father came, I believe, in the last round because my grandfather originally took his 3 eldest children, and then my grandparents, my grandma, and the rest of my dad and his siblings came the following year in 1978.
Okay.
Yeah, so this
Can
is
you like just give us like a brief history, like how your family started getting here?
Yeah. So as far as my dad's side, yeah. So my dad, our family kind of goes back to the plantation days, I believe, on the Amodo side, all the way back to the early plantation days. But my parents didn't come, well, my dad didn't come here till the 70s. And a lot of it had to do with the Filipino United Church of Christ, of which I have various grandfathers, uncles, aunts who have leadership positions in that church. And so they've kind of brought people through that church into the community here in Hawaii, and we still kind of like bring people from the Philippines through that church, so it's kind of like a cultural sort of thing.
What about your mom's side? Do you know anything? Like how you get
As far as my mom's side, I know up to my great grandmother.
Okay.
So 2 of my great grandmothers. So my mom's mom is from Batak, Ilocos Norte, and my grandfather, my mom's dad, is from Claveria, Ilocos Norte. So I believe that they met when they were like in their early 20s or something like that. And long story short, my grandfather's sister married someone in the mainland, and originally she moved to Washington, and she decided to go to school there, and then eventually she decided to move to Hawaii, I believe, for a job or something like that. And then from there she decided to petition the rest of her siblings, which included my grandfather. He married my grandmother, and they brought, through his family, he brought the rest of my grandmother's side, and that's how the rest of the Antonios came on that side of the family.
And now, like fast forward.
And fast forward, my father is a first-generation immigrant technically, but he came when he was like 7 or 8, so he's already pretty much Hawaii local. And my mom was born and raised here in a Filipino culture house, you know, first generation.
So you're like third generation.
Third generation, yeah. It's kind of crazy that doesn't seem like it, yeah.
And just recently, you just had a trip to the Philippines.
Yeah, just last year.
That was your first time there. Could you explain us like how that was for you?
Sure. So prior to this, I have never been to the Philippines. I've actually never been out the country, but first time in a third world country or developing country. And I think I'm really glad that I went at the age that I'm at, because I think if I went as a kid or as a teenager, I might not appreciate the things that I saw, things like pumping water, you know, not having like really a lot of electronics in the house and stuff like that. And on top of that, I went with my girlfriend's family, and they live in a more rural area in Ilocos Sur. So it was pretty much country. So it was very interesting seeing not wild animals, but farm animals, you know.
Like living farm animals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so chickens and a bunch of other different animals and things like that. And big farms, which was really incredible. They have a huge chili pepper farm and a bunch of different vegetables and what do you call carabao or cattle? Yeah.
So how could you summarize your whole trip in the Philippines?
Yeah. I think it was just a really blessed trip. I think I'm really glad again that I went at this age, and I got to meet my girlfriend's family, and I really got to experience Filipino culture firsthand, because I've always experienced Filipino culture through my family here, and my family, because of assimilation and English and all that, they spoke to me in English, so I never really learned Filipino aside from, you know, the food and what I saw on TV. And for me to experience it like then and there, it was very, very interesting. Changed my life.
Talk about your song.
My song. Oh yeah, so I recently wrote and recorded a song. It's currently in production right now. It's called Barangay. Barangay basically means barrio, or a community, or your neighborhood that you're in. So basically it's a conceptual song about basically all of my reflections from the Philippines, thinking about how my girlfriend and her family came here, and getting to see the places that my family comes from, where my grandparents grew up. I think it was really incredible to step in there. So I kind of explain all of that through the song, and that's why it's kind of really important to me, and I got to debut it recently.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Alright. So if you guys don't know, Jehzan's a rapper. She's also known as JehzanExclusive. And you can follow her in all her social media.
Yep, and you can also listen to my music. I have some projects on all digital music outlets, and also the rest of my songs on SoundCloud and YouTube, and also on my website, JehzanExclusive.com.
Alright. So Jehzan, how and when did you start rapping?
So I guess my journey in music really started in spoken word poetry. When I was in high school, I was involved in like different clubs and things like that. So one of my opportunities was I was able to go to UC Berkeley for 2 weeks, about 2.5 weeks, for this multicultural, multi-ethnic youth conference that we hosted about 20 to 40 kids between the ages of 16 and 22. And we all just came together to learn about racism, colorism, and a bunch of the, you know, Bay Area wokeness and stuff like that. And that kind of introduced me to, I guess, conscious writing and poetry and things like that. Over time, spent some time there, came back to Hawaii, and I've always kind of wanted to rap, but I just never knew how. So I started to just play like songs that I used to listen to as a kid, and then just say my poems over the beats. And then over time, I kind of just jokingly started rapping, and then through the military and through college, I just continued rapping, and I developed a real core passion for it.
Yeah, because when we were both in the military, when I first met you, you were already rapping.
I was already telling everybody.
You know, you were a rapper. You were so proud of it.
Yeah. Yes, I was.
At first,
I still
am. At first, I thought like this girl's full of herself.
Yeah. Such a young kid before.
Yeah, but you know, I kept the support and stuff.
Yep.
And that's how we like still became like friends.
Yeah,
like, that was
you would play
our
guitar
connection,
and we'd jam at drill or during parties and things like that. So,
Alright.
Yeah.
Cool. And something happened this past weekend.
Yes.
This past weekend, Ruby Ibarra was on the islands visiting us for her tour, the Circle 91 tour.
Yes. Yep, so if you guys don't know, Ruby Ibarra is a Filipino-American rapper from the Bay Area, and I got the chance to actually open for her this past weekend at Next Door in downtown, and it was an incredible experience. She's super down to earth, and just seeing how she rocked the crowd, and just visually seeing like it's attainable, you know,
yeah.
and that we have a Filipino-American female leader as an MC in hip hop, and I just thought it was really amazing. She's sponsored by MasterCard now, going on tour, working hard, so it just made me see, you know.
That was an awesome
It
experience.
was so dope, yeah.
And you had a chance to perform here with her.
Yes.
How do you want to say it?
Sure, yeah. So I got to open for her at the show, meaning that I was one of the people on the lineup. They got to put me on the flyer, and it's just real dope. You know, I've been doing like open mics and like school competitions for the last like 4 years, and I just really feel like all of that was real good practice, including Team Backpack a few years ago.
Oh, nice. Can you tell us a little bit something about Team Backpack?
Yeah. So Team Backpack was an underground like rap or hip hop platform that showcased like underground artists, and through the internet and social media they're able to show ciphers and freestyles and things like that. So 3 years ago in 2015 I actually got to compete live in Los Angeles for Team Backpack, of which Ruby Ibarra has been featured on as well. And it was just an incredible experience as far as networking and really seeing like the business and the culture of hip hop outside of just Hawaii. Yeah.
All right. So, a recap, we talked about your family history here in Hawaii, how you guys got rooted here, your recent trip in the Philippines.
Yes.
And with that, you had a song written about it. And we talked about Ruby Ibarra. So, like, good interview all in all. Do you have any message for my class?
Just thank you for listening and watching me. I'm just really honored that Jan asked me to do this. It's just really cool that, you know, being Filipino-American, it doesn't mean that you have to just choose one side or the other. If you're Filipino-American, you are. Like, we live in a world where you can be right there, and you get to choose what that means. So I'm glad that I get to explore that through music and business, and I get to share it with you. So thank you guys.
Alright. Diyan po nagtatapos ang aking video. Sa end ng presentation ko, makikita niyo po ang mga hashtags sa social media ni Jehzan. And that's it. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take me, why'd you ever let me leave? It was 1993, families had to break up. It's why these Filipino women wearing all they makeup, cause every time they wake up they gotta think about it. What would you do if you knew the opportunities for your child was 10,000 miles away from home, feeling all alone?